Welcome, Katie. Glad you're here. Welcome all, and thanks for joining us for our partner and ex officio agency roundtable today. I know there's a couple conflicting events kind of right at the same time, so I am recording so that we can post that recording. So if you know folks who miss it, it'll be up on our YouTube channel, hopefully by the end of the day. But with that, I will let our presenters get started to be mindful of everyone's time. Tommy Sheridan, do you want to start us off? I know you're ready.
Sure, thank you. Bear with Cordova bandwidth here. I'll bring up my slide deck and it'll get up there eventually. Alrighty, hi everyone. My name's Tommy Sheridan. I'm the director for the Alaska Blue Economy Center, and I appreciate these opportunities to provide updates on what we've been up to. Some of you may know this, but one of the things we've been really interested in is trying to find ways to introduce mariculture to a variety of audiences, especially K through 12 students. And so I'll focus on that today. I put together quite a few slides here, so it'll be relatively fast paced, but I just want to share some pictures and a story about what we've been doing. And for those slides where folks can't keep up with the words, I'll just encourage you to go watch the recording and hit pause. So one of the programs that we've been working with is a program called Science Olympiad at UAF. This is a STEM program for middle school students. And so it's a competitive event that students and their teachers around the state begin preparing for in the fall and work towards a competitive event in Fairbanks at the end of March each year. ABEC has funded Science Olympiad for a few years, and we've been encouraging and working towards integrating mariculture into the event. And so there's been a mariculture competition now for a few years in a row. For a variety of reasons, this past year, I led the event, and we had a lot of participation. So just as a kind of a repeat last year. The Cordova team won the Mariculture event, and I'm from Cordova, and so that made me very happy. My son was on the team. This year, Valdez won the event, and that also makes me happy because we've been working with folks in Valdez to really get involved with mariculture. So that took place this past March. Super fun event. The picture on the right are Valdez middle school students, and they have a jar of my kelp pickle soup, which is a whole other story, but it was one of their awards. So as a part of our event, we had a few different activities that they went through. We had a seaweed identification station, we had a turbidity station, a salinity station. We had students demonstrate knot tying proficiency. And for the seaweed identification station anyway, we kind of printed out a very simplistic dichotomous key and then had a few different species of kelp for them to look at and touch and match with the description. And we're really grateful to Sean Denadel on the left. He worked with me to collect some samples for shipment to Fairbanks with me. I'm glad that they all made it alive. Another kelp farmer in Cordova also provided us with sugar kelp. So that was really cool to have these students from all over the state touch and think about kelp for the first time probably in their lives. As a part of these activities, we try to introduce these kids to all kinds of different things. At its core, Science Olympiad is workforce awareness, workforce development. And so on our way to Fairbanks, we were really fortunate to have a behind the scenes tour with Alaska Airlines. That's me with thumbs up in the back. I was pretty psyched about this, and the kids enjoyed it as well. On the left is Martina Gersach with Prince William Sound College. She's a frequent collaborator, just love what the college is doing in Valdez. And so she flew up and helped me put on this event. This is our seaweed identification station and a couple students from Wasilla on the right. I can't help myself. This is my son tying a bowline knot. He was a part of the Mariculture event this year. He did not win, but he does know how to tie a bowline knot very well. So I was proud of him for that. And then this is our Cordova team. I've been leading this team along with the help of Kathy Renfelt, who's the executive director for the Cordova Chamber of Commerce, which has a real interest in workforce development. And these are students, many of whom have medals around their neck. So we're proud of them for what they did. And on our way home, Alaska Airlines treated us again to a few hours in the lounge, which, was a first for many of them as well. So we're trying to get them excited about STEM and have a little fun along the way. Another program that I've talked to you all about is Teaching Through Technology, T3. It's a statewide STEM program focusing primarily on high school students. We've been working to integrate mariculture into T3 through curriculum development, badging, and otherwise just cooking them kelp pickle soup whenever they'll let me. It's again workforce development for high school students. ABEC, myself, we've been very active in Cordova and Valdez, where we've been working closely with Prince William Sound College in both communities. And I'll just say that here in Cordova, our T3 and Science Olympiad clubs are blended. We have middle school and high school students along with us. We brought our high school students in T3 to Fairbanks this past February for Engineers Week at University of Alaska Fairbanks. And this is they and some other students from around the state engaging with Dr. Nima Farzadnia, who some of you may recall is working to integrate kelp into construction material development. So that was just a super cool opportunity for these students to engage with them. This is just a picture of a more recent event. Trident Seafoods was interested in what we're doing here, and so they invited us for a tour of their Cordova plants. And they wanted us to take a picture in front of an American flag. So that's what we did. And this is a group of middle school and high school students. They had a great time. And that's John Williams with Alaska Sea Grant who joined me. On the right, Trident had a really fun activity planned for the students, and we're grateful for that opportunity. Today is the last day of ABEC's contract with the city of Valdez to support their interests in mariculture. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that and thank the city for all of these opportunities. Their support has really allowed us to kind of play in this space, especially in Valdez, but there has been bleed over benefits to Cordova. And so they were very interested in supporting mariculture development in Valdez, Prince William Sound, and around the state. They were very involved with the Alaska Mariculture Cluster Grant and a $20 million National Science Foundation grant. This is a website that just commemorated our engagement with the city in 2022. And we hope to work with them on other areas of interest in the future. One of the things that we did as a part of our work for the city was we worked very closely with Prince William Sound College, and here is myself and Dr. Amanda Glazier on the left doing some mariculture sampling in the vicinity of Valdez. This ultimately resulted in 258 samples from around Port Valdez and was really integrated into the college's programming. On the left here are students, faculty, and staff from our last sampling event in April of 2024. And these activities have really been integrated into their programs. And just last night, there was the college's fourth annual Environmental Science Symposium, which included all kinds of references to kelp and acknowledged our role there. Here, I just highlight the fact that one of the students, Dakota Bell, worked with Jessica McKay at the Automated Construction Advanced Materials Lab on looking at how kelp could be integrated into construction materials, i.e. concrete alternatives. And last but not least, I was invited to mentor this past spring a group of undergraduate students through the Navigating the New Arctic Research Experience for Undergraduate Students. This is a paid research program, and for this past cohort, it was really intense. I was introduced to students on January 6th, and then we had a month to kind of work through a project, a concept for their presentation at the Alaska Forum in February. The three students who said yes to our proposed project were Hannah Bogdan on the top, who is a former Prince William Sound College student, also a former student in the UAS Applied Fisheries Aquaculture semester, a current UAS student and former Alaska Sea Grant Fellow. Sabrina Dunphy is a student at UAF's College for Indigenous Studies, and Naomi Kraus is a student at University of Alaska Anchorage. So we spent a month kind of diving into, how can we develop a mariculture farm site in the vicinity of Valdez? Why would we do it, and what would we do with those products? And so I won't share all of that work, but I will, as soon as I'm done talking, provide a hyperlink to the recording of our video from April 8th. We got together at the Alaska Forum's request and just gave a rehash of our work and our presentation. It's an hour-long presentation. I'll drop that in the chat. And then finally, I'll say that this cohort will happen again. Applications are due June 26th. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. I'll be a mentor and we'll be working on mariculture in the vicinity of Valdez again. So that's it from me. That's my contact information. And I appreciate the opportunity. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Tommy. Great updates. We're going to hold questions just to make sure we can hear from everyone. So if you have a question, keep it in mind or feel free to put it in the chat and we'll get back to it at the end. Charlie, I think I saw you on. Do you want to give SEC's update next?
Yeah, happy to. Nice slides, Tommy. We'll clip those and we'll clip your presentation and put it on the AMC website. I think I'll just share my screen if that's okay. So busy times at the Alaska Mariculture Cluster. It's exciting time of the grant with so many of the projects that we were ramping up in the early years of the grant are coming to conclusion. So we have lots of reports and updates getting published. It's busy, busy time. So we are reporting these things on our website and our newsletter. If you go to our news page, you'll see we are now doing these monthly roundup articles that are organized by grant component 1 through 8. These are the grant components. And it's sort of, it just tells you what's new. So in March, we're really pumping our free business planning services we have for shellfish farmers, seaweed farmers, mariculture processing businesses, prospective farmers. Anyone can get a ton of support with free business plans, either through Greenwave or also through Spruce Root. We have 2 posts there. We also have a third contractor that will be coming online probably in May to provide specific help for shellfish and processing sector. Greenwave is mostly focused on kelp. So if you're a kelp farmer or there's a processing entity in your region, we can help them produce business plans. We also are just always trying to demystify the grant. So you'll see right down here, we have a chat bot here, which you can see preloaded with beta testing prompts that we're getting it. It's improving as well. But if you want, you can ask it pretty much anything you want. I could type in what business planning resources are available, and I'm willing to wager that it'll route me to the Greenwave and the Spruce Root articles. So just another cool feature to just help people unlock this complex $49 million grant with all these services. So there it is. There's Greenwave. There's the guy to talk to, Andrew Jilka. And also, yeah, how could I forget Alaska Sea Grant and Quentin Fong? So pretty cool tool there. Our Mariculture Equipment Program is a big component of this grant. It's about $12 million, I believe, if you include the 3 rounds of competitive RFP and the original subawards that were awarded equipment. So trying to demystify that program so that people can keep track of all the things that are going on. We have our Mariculture Equipment page, which you can navigate to under resources or through the menu navigation here. But the new feature here is this Airtable um, that I'll make full screen. I hope it loads quickly for this presentation. It should. And it's organized. We have 19 different organizations that have been awarded equipment funds. So they're organized by that. So DEC has $1.8 million worth of equipment, primarily for shellfish toxin testing. Um, Fish and Game, they've got this high performance computing cluster that supports the tissue analysis program. Got a refrigerated Connex container going to the Kawak Airport, and Central Council Clinton is running that. So you can just see, look at all these pieces of equipment, and there's a lot of different things to keep track of, different rounds of approval. So that's what the status bar is tracking there. So we're continuing to work on that. I went full screen here, so I don't know how to exit. Here I go. I have to hold it. Okay. Um, we also have our regular old Airtable that is the entire grant. Um, so if this is also full screen view, this shows all the 49 million plus the match, every single project we're working on. It's just massive. You can search it. If you're interested in market development, you can type that in and it'll highlight the rows that are related to that. Many of you are familiar with this, so I'll move on. Um, In Southeast, I'll stop sharing my screen now because now I'm just going to get into the Southeast updates. But in Southeast, we are working on activation at the Juneau Maritime Festival on Saturday, May 9th. We're pretty excited. We're hopefully going to have a large sampling profile with kelp and salmon burgers and also some oysters from farms from around the region. Still hammering out the details of that. And we're trying to think about ways we can support additional events throughout the Southeast region with wearing our EDA hat, or sorry, our Economic Development District hat, not our statewide grant manager hat. And in Southeast, there is a new liaison coming online through EcoTrust. That is part of the AMA liaison program. And her name is Susie O'Neill. Miranda Ham's taking a step back. She's going to focus on her burgeoning oyster farm out in Kawak. And excited to have Susie. And we're also excited to get these events rolling. We think that's sort of probably a good activity for the liaison program here with only a few months left. The grant is ending at end of September 2026. Some projects have been extended through December, and other projects have been extended through May of 2027. And the last thing I'll plug is the revolving loan fund. That is, we're trying to get all that money loaned out by the end of May 2027 so we can revolve the corpus. The corpus is $8 million, I believe. Somewhere around $1 or $1.5 million in loans have been approved, and so we have a ways to go. So if folks need a loan, look no further than the AMC Revolving Loan Fund Program, and you can apply with Spruce Root or Northrim Bank. Happy to answer any questions at the end. Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie. Lots happening at SEC/the cluster as usual. Next up, maybe we can go to the federal side. Jordan, do you want to give the next update?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to present. I'm very excited to say that Tamsin Peoples is going to be the next Sea Grant Fellow working with the Mariculture team at the Alaska Fisheries Science Center. So many of you already know Tamsin through her incredible work in the kelp hatchery and just general kelp farming sphere. So she's finishing up her master's degree soon and will come join our team. So keep that in mind as you if you have any research needs. I'm always love to hear from people. And speaking of research needs, there's a few different projects going on at AFSC where we're soliciting samples. There's a nutrition study for kelp that will kind of complement and build off some of the great work that the Mariculture Cluster funded. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to put the link in the chat. which is just goes to a Google form so you can fill out your interest. But this is a Northwest Fisheries Science Center researcher and paying $20 per sample. And then Leah Valdez, our current Sea Grant Fellow, is trying to better understand instances of or how widespread shell boring polychaetes or mud blister worms are in Alaska shellfish mariculture. So she's looking for samples to buy samples and also to fill out a survey. So I'm putting that link in the chat as well. And you are welcome to reach out to me if you have any specific questions. We're also working right now to figure out the next 5 years of our EVOS funding. We have an operating shellfish hatchery now and would love to do industry relevant hatchery research. So we're framing out these next 5 years now and would love to talk to folks who have thoughts, research needs, etc. Now would be a really good time. And that's all I got. I'll put my email in the chat too, just to make sure you have it, and always love to hear from folks. Thanks.
Thanks, Jordan. And I'm happy to include those links in our next newsletter if you want as well.
Thank you. Yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome. Alicia, do you want to continue on the NOAA update train?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I got a few slides to share, so let's see if I can figure this out. There you go. Mainly, I just wanted to highlight that we published our notice of intent to prepare a programmatic environmental impact statement that came out April 13th. So right now we're collecting public comments, and we'll be collecting those for 45 days through May 28th. Just this week, we held our first listening session on April 22nd. Our next one's on April 28th, and I'll stick a link in here on how to register for those. So these listening sessions, I'll walk through kind of the AOA process, what the notice of intent means, what types of information we're collecting. But then the intent here is really just turn it over to the public. So this is their opportunity to provide oral comments that get recorded and that we'll consider as we're developing that programmatic environmental impact statement. The QR code I put on here, that's going to take you to our website. So that walks you through what the notice of intent is, how to register for those listening sessions, and then also how to provide your written comments. It also links to our Alaska Aquaculture Atlas and digital. So next slide, just wanted to highlight that oral comments aren't the only way you can comment. You can also send us written comments, and you can do that 2 ways. You can either do that through regulations.gov. This QR code takes you to that website, and it takes you directly to the notice. So you just have to click the comment button, and then you can also mail us comments directly to the regional office. And then in that notice, we lay out 2 different frameworks for our preliminary alternatives. The first is that we wouldn't identify AOAs. The second is that we would identify 1 and up to 77 AOAs that are described in our atlas. So that figure on the left shows you where those 77 locations are, those little red dots, and you can dive into the atlas or digital atlas for more information. And speaking of digital atlas, I'm giving you a link here. If you guys haven't checked that out, please do so. It's a really helpful resource. So you can look at any of our study areas on the left-hand side, zoom into those locations. It's going to pop up those option areas. And then at the bottom here, you can also see, you can dive into all of the input layers that were associated with the modeling effort. So if you're thinking about providing comments and really want to be able to visualize where those locations are of your communities, this is a really great tool to be able to think about that. The next one is the atlas itself. So for all of the 10 study areas and those 77 AOA options, the atlas provides extensive maps. You can access that through this QR code. And this just shows you an example for Juneau. you can see each of the study areas are kind of broken out into these subsections, and then the purple subtitle options are here, and then orange represents the intertitle options. So those are the shall really. So you can do this again for any of the study areas and any of the option areas. There's extensive maps throughout that. And then last but not least, just want to give you the QR code for our upcoming listening session. That's on April 28th. Again, that's just a chance to provide oral comments for our consideration. And that's it for me.
Thanks, Alicia. It's fun to see some of the atlas images on the slides. And maybe I'll just ask Kaylee's question really quickly, since I think are going to have time. But in the chat, she asked if there's a recording available for the public meeting that was on April 22nd.
We'll have a transcript, but we're kind of reviewing that right now. And as soon as we make it 508 compliant, we'll post that on the website.
Thanks. All right, next, let's see who's on.
Want me to go?
Yes, please. Thank you. I was
Yep.
looking to
No problem. Well, I don't think mine's going to be as fun as Tommy's. He's gotten to do all the fun things lately, it looks like. I do have a couple of slides of things coming up. Give me 1 second. I have to get this bar out of the way. AMA meeting, sorry. Ex officio. Nick Mangini's in here. Say hi, Nick.
Hi, Nick.
There's silica packets if you want them. That's it.
This is what you got?
That's all I found.
Okay. There's like some bottles that have like a bunch of the little pebbles in them.
Let me present and then we could go look.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll probably just come back later.
Okay.
Sorry. Thanks.
Farmers. So needy. Just kidding. Yeah, so we have some opportunities coming up. We will be hosting a seaweed handling and processing workshop June 15th through 17th here at the Kodiak Seafood and Marine Science Center. We're bringing in Spencer Sarin to help us teach that course. We will have an application/registration up on our website here soon. Our comms team is working on that. But we should expect it any time. We do have a few spots available that have travel stipends. So look out for that. We'll be covering airfare and hotel. During that same week is going to be the Kodiak Kelp Festival. That will be June 15th through 20th. It's overlapping a little bit with that seaweed processing workshop to hopefully showcase some products that come out of that workshop. So we'll have evening events on that Tuesday, Wednesday, and then really community engaged events through Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, all around fun and the love of seaweed. So those should be super fun. We have set our open water scuba certification course to be September 14th through 18th. That's going to be here in Kodiak as well. We'll have the registration portal open for that probably in about a month. And we do have travel stipends available. We are partnering with Green Wave and the Kodiak Ocean Growers to host a kelp nursery workshop. This is really going to be geared towards training of kelp nursery technicians, and that's going to be in October, still finalizing those dates. And then we'll be hosting an oyster farming 101 workshop in Kodiak as well this December. I imagine we'll have a couple more fall activities that will be led by James Crimp, but we don't have those scheduled yet, because he's really busy right now running our Mariculture Summer Apprenticeship Program. That is completely filled. We had a ton of interest for hosts and apprentices as well. We do believe we're getting some funding from another program to be announced yet, but we hope to hold this opportunity next summer as well. Our Farmer Knowledge Exchange Grant Program is up and running. We would like to have applications in for that by June. July 31st is the end of the program, and so we need to have all of the travel completed by the end of July and those travel expense reports done. But we still do have some funding for that, so if you're interested, there's the QR code and link to apply for those. Our oyster manual is those final little edits are, they just take longer than you really want them to. We were hoping to have it done in March. It looks like May. We're just finding those tiny little commas in the wrong spot and those little things, but it's written and it's almost ready for its debut. We are also working on that tank-based system, dulse cultivation manual. Just getting that oyster farming manual out the door. This one should be not too far behind that. I don't have a slide for it, but our fellow Rachel French, who wrote the oyster farming manual, is writing the kelp farming manual. So she has completely switched gears and is learning all about seaweeds now, and she's got a good head start on that manual. So we expect that to be out this fall. I have a presentation coming up, creating the new sea cow. We have a really fun project going with the Institute of Agricultural, Natural Resources, and Extension. We are very busy drying seaweed here in our facility right now. It smells like seaweed 24/7, which I kind of love. And we are going to be shipping all of our dried ground kelp up to Jim Vineyard and the experimental farm in the Matsu area to start the cattle feed trials. So really exciting. He's getting kelp from other places across Alaska. So he's got quite a diverse list of species that we're going to be trialing with the kelp. We're going to be giving a presentation on it next week. There's a QR code for that. It's going to be virtual, noon to 1. But if you're in Fairbanks, come see us, sign up, and listen to us in person. I'm going to be flying up for it. Jim's going to be driving up for it. So excited to get to Fairbanks next week. Haven't been up there for a while, but please tune in to their Circumpolar Connections web series. This one being on feeding cows seaweed and creating the new sea cow. Kodiak Kelp Festival, save the date. Right now we are soliciting for this year's logo. This is last year's logo. And so we're going to be getting those in. We have a deadline of May 20th, sorry. And so if you are a Kodiak resident, check out our Instagram page and we've got a solicitation there, or send a drawing to me. That works. The Sea Grant team is busy with Recon as well, the Mariculture Research and Restoration Consortium. I know quite a few of us are involved in that, looking at the impacts of aquatic farms across the Evo Spill region, Prince William Sound, Kachemak Bay, Kodiak. We were soliciting for new farmers to join in on the team under a Farmer Light version. That application deadline was April 20th, and so we got quite a bit of interest, really excited about that. And the Recon team is reviewing those applications currently, and we'll hopefully be getting back to folks soon. We really want our new farmers, our Farmer Lights, to be starting in July. So really excited about the interest in bolstering the science coming out. And as always, follow AMRTC for all the up-to-date stuff. And there's a new Salty interview session out. So check out one of our many social media sites to see our new Salty Sessions interview. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Missy.
Yeah.
All right. And then Michelle, did you have a presentation?
No.
All right.
Yeah, I don't have any presentations. We are quietly and anxiously awaiting the closure of the application period right now, which ends next week. So probably next month we can give you an update on that, because right now we only have one application, but we know there's a lot coming probably next week.
That's good. Thank you. And then last but not least, we have Katie Pendle from AMSEA, and Katie, I'll let you introduce yourself beyond that.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for allowing me to take a moment to share some information on a mariculture specific marine safety training that I'm working on with some people who are in this chat. So yeah, my name is Katie Pendle. I am the program director at Alaska Marine Safety Education Association, also known as AMSEA, based here in Sitka, Alaska. AMSEA started in 1985 with the sole purpose of keeping people alive on the water. And we began training commercial fishermen on safety equipment, how to use it. And over the years, we've expanded to include recreational boating, youth education, stability, and a bunch of other topics. What we realized is that right now there's a lot of people in the mariculture industry. It's a growing industry, and we don't really have a great training that is specific to your needs. And so this past year, we partnered with the University of Alaska Southeast to develop something new, a mariculture specific training. And we're hoping that we can get feedback from all of you on things that you think people should know. So this is primarily important because Alaska has the highest rates of boating fatalities in the nation, more than double the rates of most other states. And most of the fatalities in boating incidents are due to cold water immersion. AMSEA considers cold water to be anything that is 70 degrees or lower, which is all of our waters here in Alaska. And so there isn't really a safe period of time to be above that. So we want to make sure that we are covering cold water immersion and cold water safety in all industries. And mariculturalists don't really fit into commercial fishing or recreational boating. You guys are your unique niche. And so this training that we're trying to create is filling that void. This training that we're doing is 3 parts. The first is an 8-module in-person training program designed to be practical, relevant, and hands-on. The second one is an online course. It is still 8 modules long, but it is designed to be accessible and provide foundational knowledge for new and existing workers in the industry. And then the third part is creating a train the trainer program for this course. And we are piloting this project here in a couple of weeks in Sitka, and then we will hopefully iron out some more of those things that we were missing. So I'm in the last phases of this project. And at this point, I'm hoping that farmers can help think of some of these topics of what do you wish you had known when you first started in mariculture? What are the mistakes you see new crew members making again and again that we could prevent or educate people on? What are the risks that don't get talked about enough but should be? And what are the must cover topics in a marine safety course for mariculturalists? So in the chat, I'll go ahead and provide a QR code to a form that we've created to ask these questions. And thank you for letting me take this time. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'll put my information in the chat as well. This is a program that is being funded for by Alaska Sea Grant. And we've had it peer reviewed by a couple different farms and participants. So thank you guys. I'll go ahead and stop my share and provide that information in the chat.
Thank you. And I think that was our last presenter. So we'll open it up. If anyone has questions, feel free to just come off and unmute and ask, or drop it in the chat, raise your hand, whatever works best.
Hey, Missy, are GEMS trials happening in Palmer or Fairbanks? I think they're happening in Palmer.
They are happening in Palmer. The presentation is in Fairbanks.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, yep. It's at the research is at the Matsu Experimental Farm, which is in Palmer.
And in addition to questions, if any of the other agency or partners on have a quick update, you're also welcome to add that in. Just I'll give a very brief AMA update. Jason's not here right now because he's doing the Alaska Food Policy Council Food Systems Network gathering, which is on Mariculture this week. So we'll have a link to that recording in our next newsletter, or feel free to email me if you want to catch up on that sooner. He was presenting with Evie Witten from Regeneration North and the Innovation Hub for that. And then next week we will have a webinar with Alicia and Chris from NOAA about the aquaculture atlas and aquaculture opportunity areas in Alaska. That'll be Tuesday at noon. Unfortunately, that overlaps with Missy's, but we will record. So if you don't make it, we'll have that recording on our YouTube. And I know I'm looking forward to the livestock webinar recording after it comes out. And then I think the final AMA update today is just that, like Charlie said, we are excited to welcome Susie O'Neill, who's going to be supporting the liaison program in Southeast. Miranda's last day is coming up pretty soon, and Susie is already on this webinar and working on getting on board and starting that work. So maybe Susie, if you want to, add your email or anything in the chat, we're excited to have you. And I think those are all the updates I have. I don't see any other questions. I'm happy to keep this open for a minute or two, but otherwise we'll give everyone a little bit of their lunch hour back. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for all the presentations.
And I do send around a quick summary to all our liaisons. So if you want to also receive that summary with all the links in one spot, feel free to put your email in the chat or send me an email. I'll put mine in the chat, and I'm happy to add anyone else to that email list. And I try and get that out by the end of the week.
Thanks, Molly. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you all.
Yes.
Thanks, Molly. Thanks for letting me talk.
Thanks for joining us.